You would think a chess match. You would think they're going to try and out-chess each other and out-box each other. They've both got the technical side of it to really try and out-box each other. Honestly, who really knows what happens?
Wally Downes here from The Sun, joined by the most famous nose in heavyweight boxing.
Fabio Wardley. Nose.
The British champion still. Fab, usually I do a load of like soft questions to warm you up, but you've just given us 36 minutes of your life, mate, that we're all so grateful for, so I'm going to cut to the chase. Usually a boxer has to have come from a real horrible place or be groomed in amateur bouts from the age of 10, 11 to go to the depths that you went through. Where is it coming from with you, mate? Because just from social media and our few chats, you seem to have a good, lovely family, nice life, and you come to the sport late. Where is it coming from, mate? Because you shouldn't be doing it. It shouldn't be in you the way it is.
It comes from them. It comes from the family. Look, people pull their strength from different places, and I pull mine from my family. I feel like I owe it to them to be successful, to hold myself in a certain character, to just be the person I am, to be humble, to be nice to people, to be genuine, and to give it all to something. Because my family, they allowed me that, like I take it back to something like years and years ago. When I was younger, I dropped out of sixth form, and my mum has always had entire, complete, unwavering faith in me, no matter what I wanted to do. And she, I literally left. I was in there for a few months. And I left sixth form like within about 3 or 4 months, and I came home midway through the school day, and I said, "Mum, just let you know, quit sixth form. It's not for me. Don't want to do it anymore." She was doing the washing, and she didn't even lift her head up. She didn't bat an eye. She didn't care. She went, "All right, cool, no worries." She went, "But you know one thing?" She went, "You're not going to be doing nothing. So you find yourself something, and you do something, and you go to work, and you work. That's what we do as a family. We work, we're hardworking. You will be doing the same. You can pick whatever avenue you want, do whatever you like. I don't care. But you will be doing something. You're not doing nothing." And her just, her and my stepdad as well, their unwavering faith in me. I always feel like I'm in that ring, and I owe it to them, for them to repay them in some way for their faith, for the way they've cared for me, for the way they've looked after me, for the way they've encouraged me. It comes from them. It comes from wanting to. My favorite thing of all, won belts, of hands raised and stuff, and yeah, good, it's great and stuff. But after the fight, to go back, hug my mum, and have her tell me how proud she is of me, that's the one. That's the one. That's what I do it all for. That's the reasoning behind it.
And she's the only person that you was worried about upsetting with the bloodbath on Sunday.
Yeah, look, my old man, he's hard as nails, so he doesn't care. He's not fussed. He knows. He knows I can get through it. He knows I can power through it. He knows me well enough to know that it's no bother to me. He knows I don't care. Bit of blood means nothing. Whereas my mum, it's a little bit more traumatic for her. It's a bit rough for her to watch. I'm her little baby as always, so she's always going to care a bit more and be a bit like, "Oh, that's not very nice." But overall, once it's all done and dusted, they love it.
Was there any moment in there, or perhaps which was the closest moment, that you might have said, "I have come from nothing. I've come from white collar. I've come from Ipswich," where you might, was there ever a moment or around when you sat on your stool where you thought, where it ever came, or it come close to you going, "I've come far enough, man. This guy's Olympic bronze medalist. This is me done."
No, because it's weird as well, because there's a quote I've heard for a long time now, and it plays in my head. And it says, I've not come this far just to come this far. And that's how I felt all the way through. Every round was one more round, one more round, one more round, one more round. If I can get through, because I remember forgetting the rounds, even where I was. And by the point, like, someone said something, there was like, it's round 10. And I was like, round 10? I was like, okay, I mean, I've only got a few more. Okay, cool. One by one round, one round, one round. And then we got to the end.
I can see by you just rubbing your nose now that it did look like you were swallowing and it was in your mouth and you was having to spit it out. That isn't just a normal cut. Did you think it was dripping back into your throat?
Yeah, it was just streaming, to be honest. It was just like absolutely streaming down my face. So the two things that were most annoying is obviously streaming down my face. So I'm trying to breathe out my mouth and breathe in. So I'm sucking blood in, I'm spitting blood out. That's annoying. Can't get a full breath. Also, I'm getting punched at the same time. So it's like splatting in my face, in my eyes, mixed with like Vaseline and stuff. So I'm like trying to wipe it out of my eyes. But also I'm trying to look not too distressed by the ref. So he doesn't think like, oh, I'm in a bad way here. So I'm trying to just do it like little quick ones, sneakily and stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of little moments to kind of manage through that, really.
And I thought that every time you did come out, and I know that the doctor was called up. I think your corner did incredibly well. I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the stuff that Ben was going through with you. How important was the corner work that you had with him? And obviously you've talked about your own self-belief and the reasons that you do it, but the corner getting you out your cut, man, cleaning you up and sending you out and giving you the faith that you can overcome or at least match everything that Frazer was throwing at you.
Yeah, look, credit to my cut man, Adam Gigley. He's an absolute legend. Been around the sport for years and years and years. Knows his stuff. So a cut like that was nothing new to him, really. He did a fantastic job with it, maintaining it, keeping it in place, and just keeping it under control. So yeah, credit to him and the team.
One thing I want to touch on, Fab, and it might be something that boxing casuals might not appreciate, is that you're a free agent as a promotional and broadcast free agent. Now, that would mean that most other guys are tied into three fight deals, 5, sometimes if they're young, 8 or 10. And if they suffer a defeat like a Daniel Dubois did or a Joe Joyce did, they get rebuilt because there's money and time invested in them. Because you've taken the bold approach, high risk approach to be a free agent, if you had lost, as much as your stock has risen again from a valiant performance, the 3 main promoters, the 3 main broadcasters have no loyalty to you. They don't owe you anything. You could have been utterly cast adrift, really, while they focus on bringing up their young guys and protecting their established guys. Does any of that factor into how you're thinking in the build up to a fight, and also in that fight that, you haven't got the safety net that some of the other guys have in that BT or Sky or DAZN owe them 2 or 3 fights still?
No, not at all. It's an acceptance I made in myself a long time ago before even that fight, before my other fights, was that, look, this is high risk, high reward. You do well, you're at the top of the tree. You do well, you're at the bottom. You got to start scrounging and try and find little ways and do whatever. But that's nothing new to me. I found my way before and I can find my way again. And also, I don't think boxing it's not how it used to be, in the sense of, a loss is so entirely devastating for your career. It's not great, but I'm sure if I'd have lost, the phone would have still rang from Eddie, would have still rang from Frank, would have still rang from Ben. The numbers on the table, the offers of the fights and stuff, don't get me wrong, they wouldn't have been as great, but they would have still been there. Ultimately, I've had 18 fights. I've won the majority of them. I've only drawn 1. I'm still undefeated. I've still got a bunch of belts. Like, I'm still a draw. And I'm entertaining. And I think that's a massive factor. I think all you need to do is look at the likes of Derek Chisora. He's in double figures of losses now, but you can always get him a fight because he's entertaining. He's going to bring some fun. He's good for the crowd. So That's all. That's all I'm aiming to be, along with some wins along the way.
And I appreciate that every single fan that watched that would love a rematch. But again, because you've taken the risk of being a free agent, you're not tied into that. You know, Turki Al Sheikh, who's already had you out in Saudi, could well have watched that and what you did and decide he wants you back out there for Martin Bakole or Filip Hrgovic or something even bigger or something that gets you closer to a world title fight. And I think if the rematch doesn't happen, as disappointed as fans would be, you've earned that right to not take that rematch, A, because of the risk, and B, because of the rewards that will be on the table for you now.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I've got options. The rematch is a big fight. A lot of people want to see it. I get it, but my career is not about what other people want. My career is about me and what's best for me. What's the best route for me? Best fight, best money. If we're being honest,
Yeah.
it's all about those obvious things. So I'm gonna have some time, chill out, have a lay down, and then we'll come back in a few weeks and we'll have a look at the landscape and we'll see what's on the table.
What do you expect from that fight, Fab? I wouldn't ask you for a prediction. I just spoke to Moses Italma, and again, someone who's sparred them, someone who's been around them. What do you expect from that fight? If we get the best Tyson, because we've seen sort of odd versions of him occasionally, and we get the best Usyk, do you expect a chess match? Do you expect a dull fight, perhaps an edgy one? Or do you expect something?
Honestly, I really don't know. Really don't know. It's hard to call, isn't it? Because you would think a chess match, you would think they're going to try and out-chess each other and out-box each other. And because Tyson's a fantastic boxer, he's big, he's rangy, he's got the weight. Usyk, he's got the agility, he's fleet-footed, technically he's sound, his brain is switched on. Like, they've both got the technical side of it to really try and outbox each other. Or they just throw that out the window. I think more so the person to try and do that would be Fury and try and manhandle him, get on him, lean on him, close the gap, and just make it rough and ready. But also, you saw a lot of that with the Chisora fight. Now that there's no comparison there, they're not the same fighter. But Usyk was able to get away from that, worm out, and figure all that out as well. So it may not be the best plan. So honestly, who really knows what happens?
The exciting buzz at the minute, though, and it came from Bob Arum, and there's been a mention from Eddie, is that AJ might be the man who fights the winner, especially if it's conclusive. And I know that there was so much wrangling over the rematch and the percentage of the rematch and what the winner and the loser of a rematch gets. But what we learn from these Saudi shows is if the big man at the top of the tree decides he wants to make a fight, you know, these fights are going to get made. Yeah. Listen, now you're working in the Ben Davison gym. I know you haven't sparred AJ, but you must be aware of the changes and the improvements, and you would have seen stuff and heard stuff. The AJ that goes into a fight with the winner of Undisputed, I think, is so much a different fighter that was chasing it around the Usyk fights. Would you fancy that as well?
Yeah, 1000%. 1000%. It's entirely different. And I've heard Ben say that they'd like to avenge those as well in terms of the Usyk losses, things like that. And you can see from AJ, he's a different fighter. He's composed, he's calm, he's confident in himself and in his team and the game plan. Those three things together are a dangerous combination. Once you're all in sync between you, your trainer, the game plan, you're all reading off the same page, it's ridiculously, it's potent.
Final one from me, just so I can understand it, is getting into the position that you're in now. Someone like Nathan Heaney always dreamed of a British title, and then he got it. Josh Warrington was the same, he got it. Then they both dream of football stadium fights. Josh Warrington's got his, Heaney's working. Is the Ipswich fight still so high in what you might want to achieve? Or is a world title shot once they break up still something that you dream about? Listen, you've come from so far. Is everything up for grabs, and are you just happy taking anything that comes, or are there still bits that are higher up in your wish list?
Yeah, look, I think if you look at my career, anything's possible. I've gone from fighting a massive card in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to then headlining the O2, Like I think anything is possible. The club, me and the club have a fantastic relationship. All of the boys there, from the directors to the players and stuff, we get on so well. So Mark Ashton, the director, he's on me all the time about getting a fight there, about getting it done, taking it off and stuff. We've had meetings about it. We spoke about dates about it and things as well. Nothing's concrete. They're very broad conversations just to kind of get the ball rolling. But it's definitely on the cards. Just when is the question. This year maybe a bit tight. Maybe next year, we'll see.
Wonderful, mate. I will not take another moment of your time. I'm so grateful that you did this with us, Fab. You deserve a lot more rest and not to be pestered by little idiots like me. So please go back to resting and enjoy Greece. And I hope I see you in Saudi, mate.
Pleasure. Cheers, Well.